my first question is this. So this is an industry question. What changes have occurred in the space for commercial equipment, for commercial vehicles, for construction equipment to be more precise, during the year 2021? And what do you see as the outlook for the year 2022?
Okay, I will address a few parts, and Shekhar, please feel free to add wherever you want to.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Basically, if you look at it in the last, and I'm not going by the last 1 year itself, but a lot of changes happen in the commercial vehicle industry itself. One is obviously the BS6, which kicked in. So that obviously to comply with the fuel efficiency norms and other things has come in. So that has resulted in obviously increase in the price of vehicles.
Yes.
And obviously, that's one, which was a significant one. A couple of other things which came into this thing was the axle norms, the weight which a commercial vehicle can carry. So there were very clear defined norms, which also led to increased demand, but obviously a different kind of requirements. Then there was a scrappage policy where the old commercial vehicle had to be scrapped for sure. So that also was announced.
Mm-hmm.
So these are from the policy side of it. Apart from that, if you look at it, the fuel price hike, I think, has happened, which was considerable. So which obviously resulted for the fleet operators' cost of operating to significantly go up.
Yes.
That was a major impact. And the mother of all things was the COVID, because the biggest impact which was felt, and I will break it into two parts. One was the logistics movement for goods in general. So when the first wave hit us, I think almost everything came to a grinding halt completely. But when we revived and got back to normalcy, the second wave hit us. The second wave, which I have to address, is also hit us in the deeper parts of the country. And this time around, as I understand, a large number of commercial vehicle drivers and operators were also impacted. And that's something which I think Shekhar can probably speak from practical experience and of interaction with people. So you had lower demand. In the second phase, you had a problem where you didn't have any skilled operators for running the commercial vehicle also, which was a challenge. Touchwood, it seems to be coming back to normalcy now, unless Omicron creates bigger problem, which fingers crossed, I'm hoping it really doesn't. But that's what broadly we are at. So in terms of what happened in the commercial vehicle industry, and 2020-21, I think, was probably the lowest, the decadal low in terms of commercial vehicle sales. We were below market 5.79, 5.8 lakh vehicles all put together. So this was a decadal low.
How much reduction compared to last year?
In terms of percentage, how much would it be, Shekhar? Roughly about
Last year, it was around 7 lakhs, and FY21 was around 5.7 lakhs. FY21. And as Harsh rightly pointed out, FY21 was the worst financial year in a decade. The numbers went back as far back as 2014 and 15.
Okay.
In fact, the CV industry was growing well. After 2014 to 15, it was growing well, and it was increasing numbers every year, except in 2011, but when it hit a number of 5.7 lakhs. And of course, the reasons were very, very obvious. But now things seem to be looking up. If you look at the April to December figures, now they are much better than as compared to last year. If you compare April to December 20 and April to December 21, there has been a 23% increase in the numbers. And had this Omicron not gotten, I think financial year 22 would have been a savior for us. Now with more than around 3 months is still left out, so we don't know whether we will be able to recoup or we will go back to 2021 level. But of course, we are already more or less at 4.08 lakh numbers on April to December, and we should be back to FY20 levels if we continue this 23% growth rate. But these 3 months are extremely crucial as to how Omicron behaves and how we are able to look at this industry as a whole in the next 90 days. But as of now, things were okay, things were improving. And one very good particular segment which showed promise is the MNHCV sector. By far, it is one of the best numbers that December 2021 has given, around 20,000 MNHCV numbers, which are better even than the decade high best numbers of financial year 19, where it was around 15K. So this uptick in MNHCV numbers in December 2021 have been extremely, I would say, motivating. But
Encouraging,
what
yeah.
it will, to what extent it will go, it depends to a very large, depends upon how we handle this Omicron
What about sales
issue.
of second-hand sales, sales of used vehicles? Has that gone up or down, or continues to be steady?
No, sir. Yes. I would say the used vehicle market is a bit different than what the new vehicle market is. The used vehicle market, they estimate, is around 1.2 times the size of the new vehicle market. And the used vehicle market, the impact would not be very high because it is an existing capacity. New vehicles will sell only if there is a demand for additional
Incremental
capacity.
demand.
Yes. So to that extent, used vehicle market would not be affected to that extent, to the extent where new vehicle is impacted. So more or less, the capacity utilization of used vehicle market may go up or down, up and down, but it will not impact the overall business.
But how is the credit demand for used vehicles compared to new vehicles?
In wherever there is a recession, actually the demand for used vehicle goes up because they will have to manage the whatever demand they have by not buying new vehicles, but by getting the capacity utilization of the used vehicle. So wherever there is a recession, the used vehicle market picks up actually.
Actually,
And
very
is the trend in
counter-cyclical.
India- Is the trend in India similar to trends in other major markets around the world?
So it could be, but our demography and our situations are extremely different in the sense that our pollution norms, our life of the vehicle, still it is a free floating asset. Now the scrappage policies and others will come into effect only after April 23. Okay, for commercial vehicles. Okay, so to that extent, all the vehicles are more or less live. And secondly, the norms can be rigorously followed only in the semi-urban and urban sectors. But as far as the rural sector is concerned, I think we still have a free for all in the sense that you can still use very old vehicles to ply your trade. So though the stringent norms are yet to come.
But is there a market for these vehicles? I mean, do they make a difference?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
I think
It's a very thriving market. Like you mentioned, Shekhar mentioned. So it's
Talking about very old vehicles, 10, 15, 20-year-old, whatever your classification.
from a financing point of view, it typically goes if it's more than 10 years old. I'm not sure how many banks would finance that part. It doesn't come into that. Then it goes into NBFCs, then it goes to private financials, and eventually by own money being bought over for those vehicles.
Okay.
yeah, yes, Harsh is right in the sense that generally NBFCs and banks will not finance a vehicle at the end of the tenure for more than 12 years.
12 years.
Suppose if a vehicle is purchased, 12 years. But there are companies like NBFCs, like Shriram Finance, which have a different segment called the vintage segment, where they may go up to 15 to 16 years also. So as Harsh rightly pointed out, banks and standard NBFCs will not go beyond 12 years, but private financiers and niche players like Shriram would definitely go for 15 years also.
Oh.